Orderlies and nurses will be moving at a brisker pace. Doctors maybe not so fast. Visitors, you sort of know where you're going, but you're looking for the directory sign.
Hey, Camberly, Mark. Background.
Camera. Action.
Part of making this whole thing come to life is the background, and it's difficult to find the balance between what's real and stays in the background to give you the feeling of real life and what's distracting. So the assistant directors always obsess on it. When we go to the movies, we watch the extras. Drive our dates crazy, going, hey, I know that guy, I worked with him on House. It's our obsession.
This is behind the scenes. We're not supposed to have any cameras here. Shh. What can I tell you? What would you like to know? I'll show you a few things that are of interest to me. So when we shot the pilot, which was in Vancouver, we built some things, and believe it or not, we brought those things with us, and some of them are still here. This green glass. Come over here. This is my favorite part. We had one set, we brought it all. We broke it into two at that time. But here's the thing I love most. We had a choice to replace the frosted glass and do sort of a sky, right? And, or do something that was more ambitious and sort of more evolved. And we chose not to because we like having parts of the original set that we built for the pilot. More later, cut.
We gotta go get the cast and tell them that we're ready. Hey guys. All right, let's get you on your mark. Thank you.
Piss off, Gary.
Oh. Gary, what's going on?
Jeez.
Gary,
edit that out, please.
Gary, what's going on?
None of that.
I don't know whether you find this interesting, but when you're flipping the channels and you're the audience, how do you know what show it is? So it's easy to know that our show is House when House is on screen. But how are you going to know that it's House if it's not House on screen? Well, one of the ways in designing the original set of the hospital was to sort of create these walls so that it has a certain tone and texture, so that if another character's on, I think you'll be able to locate this as House Hospital versus just another hospital. Does that make sense? So I don't know whether it was the right choice or wrong choice, but I feel like this lets you know what TV show you're watching. You decide. Again, cut.
Hi, Constantine.
This is your desk.
No, this is absolutely not my desk.
This is where you do all your, this is not where you do all your work?
This is not where I do any of my work. It happens to be where I'm doing my work now because the crane is coming in through that wall, and I'd like to be here on the set, but I also want to be out of the way, and this seems like the safest place for now.
Kids, please stay in school, or else you'll be doing this for a living.
D-Mark. Donnie, you happy?
Yes.
Great.
Set. Background.
And action.
We were able to restore circulation to her hands and feet before any permanent damage set in.
From me, Raynos? The cold inside the MRI room could have set it off.
Stress can also precipitate the condition.
She's shown no evidence of cold sensitivity, and she has no problems with MRI machines.
There are other kinds of stress.
Cut. Check that. Great. Is everybody happy with that?
There's a camera here, Hugh.
Yes. Yes.
Hugh, as a director, is quite a glorious thing in so far as he's been here for every episode, right? So in a way, he's kind of directed more episodes than anyone because he's sort of the puppeteer in many ways. Is that incorrect? Is that offensive in any way?
Not offensive to me.
Yeah.
It might be offensive to the puppets.
Oh. No, I don't think the puppets are.
I don't know how
But
puppets feel about their work.
I have to say, there's a statistic that is held by Bryan Singer, our pilot director, which that's an entirely different thing, because he's creating something from whole cloth. Is that right, Hugh? From whole cloth? Did you create something from the beginning?
Say it again.
I was saying Bryan Singer, as the pilot director, had a very different task because he was creating something that didn't exist before, which is a very separate thing from episodic directing.
It is very different, and much credit accrues to him as a result.
Yeah.
Credit being code for. But now the current theory, I believe, is that most advances rest not with the original innovator, but with the tweakers. That's the theory. Malcolm Gladwell's new book, I think, is all about the tweakers.
But I don't agree with that.
So you could invent the first spinning jenny, and everyone can go, wow, that's an absolutely brilliant idea. If only it just... And then it's the guy who comes along and says, you know, the spinning jenny could be 4 times more productive if all we did was twist this little thing here, or we made that a smaller gear, or that's a larger, whatever it is. It's still, you usually have only one guy who invents it and then one guy who tweaks it, so they're both competing for a small number of slots. But, and the tweaker is, yeah, no, you're right, you're right.
Nothing's right or wrong.
Getting ready for the first game.
There's always a right or wrong.
Okay, then I'm right. So the thing is, no.
But an actor is in a sense only tweaking what has been written.
So you're saying this role could have been played by...
You know, as you know, I've said that many times. It's a Ferrari, and anyone driving a Ferrari is going to do, you know, a place in the top 5 probably. In a race of Priuses. So lots of people can do a show that is 99%, and quite a few people can do one of 99.5%. But actually, nobody cares about those. It's only about the last 0.5%. The last 0.5% detail, that extra thought, that extra twist, that extra ornamentation is everything.
Earlier in this interview, you said there's only one right choice.
Oh, well, you're going to quote me yet. God, great. I don't know what else you can do with that.
No, aside from vomiting,
Bravo.
Super.
Hey, camera, Mark.
If I die, that probably won't go over well with your probation officer.
It's not going to be an issue.
Glad at least one of us is confident.
Not me. I've already identified a couple of spots to dump your body if this goes south.
They approached this darkest of hours with not flippancy. It's not. It's in fact far from it. It's almost the opposite. There's almost a gravity about their humor. There's a sort of there's a seriousness about it. It seriously expresses the way they think and feel about each other and about the world and about death. And I think it's a very, very important element.
We're on vacation.
Oh, that is nice.
Right?
There's no more space to hide. They are now confronting a situation where, you know, they have to be pretty blunt with each other. There's no time to be polite. There's no time to try and sort of strategize to get something that either one of them wants. They're beyond that now. They're looking at something that where time is short. They have to speak up about how they feel about each other and how they feel about life and death. And there's some pretty tough stuff to come too, physically and emotionally.
We decided to go down this road at the end of the House-Wilson relationship, and Wilson has cancer, and how does he respond to that, and how, this is kind of part 1 of that, and the intensity and House actually being there for him as Wilson's desperately trying to stay alive and taking really Hail Mary passes.
If you were ever my friend, if you ever cared about me even a little bit, promise me that you won't do that to me.
Okay, I promise.
It is sad. You sort of wish that Wilson would value his own survival more. But then again, there's something courageous about his risk-taking, the boldness of it.
It's great to be directed by Hugh. I mean, that's the best part for me. I mean, I haven't had to do that. I mean, this part's been great for me. I'm kind of the best friend. I'm the guy who has 2 or 3 scenes a week. So to have it's some heavy lifting, these scenes, and it's nice to have a director and trust. So I lucked out that this episode I had a lot of sort of heavy stuff to do, and it happens to be the one that Hugh is directing. So I got lucky.
I'm just really excited that Hugh's getting the opportunity to direct actually such an important episode. The whole relationship between him and Wilson is sort of really being challenged, and he's really coming through. For the first time, he's not letting someone down, so maybe it's letting us all see that one little side of House finally that makes us say, you know what, he is a good guy.
I think that the House-Wilson relationship is just one of the greatest friendships in TV, and these are 2 guys that, I mean, they've seen the good, the bad, and especially the ugly, which is this episode. These are 2 guys that would literally take a bullet for each other.
That's good, that's good.
It's one of the proudest things I am of this series, and what Hugh and Robert have done with that. Just that portrayal of male friendship is, I think, something rare to see. 2 guys who are genuinely there for each other and genuinely care for each other. I think it's been great.
Having 8 years of being this character might make that directing part of it a lot easier, because he can really glide intuitively through being in the scene as well as directing it.
That is nice.
Yeah. God, what do you think of that?
When you watch the 2 of them go together, they feed off each other. I mean, the 2 of them, obviously, even when the camera's not rolling, you can see what great friends they are and incredible actors, and the 2 of them feed each other wonderfully. It's amazing to watch.
I know all that stuff. I'm just pretending not to, because I don't want to keep quiet about my heroin past.
That's good.
These 2 have gone to hell and back, and they've seen relationships crash and burn all around them, and the one constant in the House universe is the friendship between House and Wilson. And yes, sure, they've had some bad times where they haven't talked to each other and all that. But at the end of the day, they have each other's backs. And to me, it's just very powerful stuff.
Through the eyes a little bit, just like it suddenly hits, like a bad one, or like, yeah.
I think Robert's performance there were moments when I actually thought, oh, this is far, far beyond the level that one sees commonly in films and on TV. This is something that easily surpasses the sort of run-of-the-mill TV drama. This is truly, truly great acting.
And cut, beautiful.
He has a deep love for Wilson, and he sort of rolls up his sleeves and deals with it this time. And he actually truly was there for Wilson in a House way. He's always House, and he's always a dick about things, but he's truly there for him. And it's setting up the last few episodes where things don't work out quite so well. I've been setting up for 8 years, but it's been particularly set up by this episode, that the depth of that friendship.
Up on your end.
What time is it, Gary Cotty?
Oh.
It's
12:30. It is
12:30.
12:36 according to my iPhone.
2:33 in the morning.
Hey.
Oh, great. I'm practicing my meow.
What's interesting about all this is a lot of times these scenes that people see at 8 o'clock at night or prime time on TV, they're filmed really late at night. Like right now it's 1:15 in the morning on Friday night. And these actors are still performing at peak performance. And we're working to strive to work at peak performance too. And I think it's really interesting how it all seems seamless when the show's all cut together. But in reality, these scenes could be done end of a 16-hour day or 5 or 6 day week.
It's Friday, as we like to call it here at House on Friday night late.
Well, after 11 hours of fog, kind of gets to a point where you need one.
Right in front of me, there's an In-N-Out burger truck. Compliments of production. It was really, really good after working about 7 hours straight. Have a nice hot burger for dinner. It's a really nice house, and people who bought the truck.
We're hanging in there, and we're gonna get a day off tomorrow. We're gonna rest up, and we're gonna hit it hard on Monday. So we're gonna enjoy our burgers, and then we're gonna go back to work. All right, you all have a good time now.
Do you have any thoughts? I'm really tired. That's about the only thing I'm thinking about right now.
Cut. Just check both, okay? That's right. Train's coming down. Train's coming down. Watch your head.
Are you okay? It is quintessentially human to find the funny in even in the darkest situations, and I think it's a particularly strong bond between House and Wilson. I think they've always made each other laugh. They've always enjoyed each other's sense of humor.
Wilson's passed out and House puts different hats and shirts on him, and actually out of all the stuff we brought down here, the sombrero seemed to be a real hit.
One of the kinks in House's brain allows him to see connections that other people might not otherwise see. It also, incidentally, allows him to be funny, because I think it's sort of the same mechanism, in a way.
Are there some, like Marilyn Monroe sunglasses that you could see? That's great. I think that's great. Oh, yeah. I think we have it.
My career's over.
What's your radio mic? Probably want to leave that there. Ready? What was that noise? Should we go straight away?
I thought you said you... Well, that whole
fucking thing moved. Yeah.
Action.
I thought you said you had plenty of Vicodin.
Everybody lies.
For some reason, we just lost the bell. No longer working. Doesn't look like the light's working either.
What's that? Be-bang. Should we do one more?
They're looking for it. Thank you.
Where we can? Thank you.
It seems to be working. Shoot it.
So, the way I felt, you feel that? What, most of the time? Really does suck being you, doesn't it? At least I don't have cancer.
Good. Good. Yes. Check
Hey
that.
guys, it's a great episode, a great 3 years. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Scott. We wish you...
Today's my last day on House. It's been a great 3 years. It's amazing when you can get a group of people together that are so much at the top of their game, and it's even more incredible when it's a group of people you want to go to work with every day. And I'm never going to forget my experience here. Cheers.
Yep.
House, baby.
I know everyone knows he's an amazing actor because you see him on TV every week, but I've been sitting behind him for the last 9 days, and he's impressed me greatly, and I've worked with a lot of directors. I mean, he knows his stuff. He has a fantastic visual sense, and I think he's did an awesome job with our script.
You know, I wish it would last forever. It's been that great of a show. I mean, we're like a big family here, and I'm gonna miss all these people.
It's quite an amazing thing, and I feel very lucky to get there, and we all worked really hard to do it.
8 years, every single day, every single episode, as many episodes as Hugh has done.
These episodes towards the end have been very intense, and one of the reasons being is because that we do know it is the end, and I will tell you that as everybody phases out and as we see them getting phased out, it makes me feel sad in a way, but also makes me feel very proud that I got to work with them.
Everybody's lovely, and it's a nice feeling
And it's a
when you
fun
walk
group.
on this set. It feels...
I've only been here for like an hour and I'm already feeling at home.
You know, it's what you live for. If you're, a creative person, if you're in this business, you want to be around the best writing, you want to be around the best acting, you want to be around the best crew, and I think this place has it all, so I think where else would you want to be?
To me, it's like the last movement of a great symphony. by a great composer. And it's working its way towards the finale, and I wouldn't leave my instrument for the world.
Anyone tried calling house?
Not picking up.
Or returning messages or texts.
We're on our own here, so just give me some theories we can use.
I don't think there would be a time or any situation or any group of people one could be with where the sentence, "I worked on house," would be a bad thing to say. I hope that all these people, for many, many years to come, will be proud to say that they did this show and they did it well, and sometimes they did it better than well. Sometimes they did touch moments that I think have been, various points in the series have been absolutely sublime and as good as anything I would ever hope to achieve, and I'm immensely proud of it, and always will be.
I can't even wrap my head around it, what we collectively, the cast, the crew, myself as part of that, but every single one of the people who's worked on this show, I never dreamt it would be this good. I never dreamt it would be this successful. And I'm proud of what I've done, but it does, you know, I'm grateful because it means nothing without having equally talented people around you trying just as hard and working just as hard and caring just as much. And it's been amazing. It's been more than I ever could have hoped for.
Action.
An oncologist with cancer. Of all the things that could be killing me. Is that all you have?
No, it probably is more than that, but I don't know what it is right now. Well, that was pretty much it. That's what we do here, and we've done that or something like it for 8 years now, which is quite a run and something of which we are very proud. Coming to an end now, and that's a moment of sadness, but nonetheless, the pride, I hope, remains for everybody here. And on behalf of them all the crew and the cast and the writers and so on, thank you very much.